My name is Aaron Lloyd. I'm the special assistant to the mayor of the city of Reading here in Pennsylvania. Reading was one of the first major industrial cities in the country. Everyone knows about, or at least used to. It's actually interesting. A lot of people start to not know about the Reading Railroad anymore and the role of it on the monopoly board. It used to be the largest corporation in the world.
I'm Brian Kelly. I work with Redesign Reading, which is a community development corporation here in the city of Reading, PA.
Reading, 100 years ago, highest industrial output per capita in the world. So you've got a lot of these kind of like old industrial money from when Reading was textiles. It was the center point for the canals and the railroad.
It's always been a working class industrial city though, overall. Steel industries were kind of like the last remaining legacy of Reading. It's actually one of the densest design cities in the country, and so could support a much larger population. We lost a lot of that to the suburbs once the industry left and the jobs started scattering out. Reading was well on its way to the status that it is now, one of the poorest cities in the country. Probably have one of the highest concentrations of Latino population at this point. In the school district alone, it's reaching 90%. A few blocks away from City Hall here, we've got some census tracts that have over 70% that they do not own a car. When you look at the need for mobility, biking becomes an obvious solution there that a lot of people already turn to.
Because there's no bike lanes and not a whole lot of bike racks, one wouldn't think that a lot of folks were doing biking. But there was all of these folks in and around the edges where biking is a necessary form of transport.
The League of American Bicyclists said that Reading has a 1.1% of bike commuters. So in terms of where we are in Pennsylvania, we're third in the state for the number of active bike commuters. And without any government policy or subsidy.
There are tons of people biking. It's just that there's no mobilized bike advocacy community.
So that was like, wow, this is interesting. This is an organic trend. It's nothing that we've been responsible for.
So you've got your BMX folks. You have Reading flanked by two mountains. So you've got folks who riding the trails, doing a lot of the downhill stuff. A small road community similarly, because they're just gorgeous recreational assets, trails. And then there's a group of bike commuters, either inside of the city or from the suburbs into the city, who are like, well, biking is my mode of transit. And all these communities are very distinct.
It was a Reading Classic Bike Club. We're now Reading PA's Vintage Swim Bike. And we have 25 members, I would say. The Classic Bike Club, from what I understand, has been around 10 years. We do a lot of things within our organization. We used to do the Afro-Latino Parade to stop the violence, and we bring book bags to these kids, kids that don't have a lot of money. My belief is, like I said, I've been here 30 years. Public bus, they run on a schedule. If you miss that schedule, you don't have it. So people decide on their own, I gotta get a bike, I gotta get back and forth here.
The bus company, BARDA, equipped all of their buses with the front-loading bike racks, specifically because they started seeing this need, and this is years now that they've done this.
The top cities for quality of life and all those things, like biking is one of those like common denominators. So it just makes obvious sense to make that a core part of our revitalization strategy.
Wood to Wonderful's been around in Reading, I believe, almost 20 years now. Around 2007, they started this bike program.
They were bringing kids in after school to learn about bikes, to build a bike. We're going to have a healthy bike environment here. We at least need a bike shop back in town.
When we talked to them about the bike shop, they're like, oh, okay. So we started talking about how can we do a much more coordinated effort.
Reading's lost a lot of retail business to the malls, the big box stores, those kinds of things. And we lost our last bike shop a few years ago, moved outside of the city limits. So we worked with our local community development corporation, Redesign Reading, did a grassroots, ground-up approach to making a nonprofit community bike shop called the Reading Bike Hub that recycles used bikes. located it right in our downtown in our bus transit center, so it could be another link in the multimodal strategy.
This was in August of 2014, and we were sketching on the wall, okay, what is this going to look like? We all want it. Who's running it? And everyone was like,
Brian Kelly put a thing out on Facebook, was asking for any people that'd be interested in volunteering, helping in a bike shop. And me and a couple of friends were like, that was our dream. Either own a bike shop, work in a bike shop.
so Jason Orth was one of the first ones who saw it, and it was like, I grew up in Reading, like biking is everything for me, like I want this, I want to succeed, I'm there for whatever.
I told him, I'll do weekdays, volunteer, keep it open. So people have something, because there ain't no other bike shops in inner city of Reading.
Last year, me and Jason, we seen that they were trying to open up a bike hub, and we were like, yo, we're there.
So then when I heard about this grand opening, I showed up and I cornered Brian Kelly and I told him that I had to get involved even if it meant cleaning bathrooms. And he said, well, we don't have bathrooms. So I said, well, I could help coordinate the new media.
The Hub's a great organization. I mean, they help other kids that can't afford bikes. They have a program that they teach you how to build a bike. After they build it, once you graduate, that bike is yours.
They wanted to do the Build a Bike program, and they didn't have nobody to teach, so that was me. And I figured the kids in the city needed something.
That's why I'm here, to get the kids and people that are less fortunate that can't afford a good bike.
Now that this place is open, I mean, I realize that there's a lot of people that ride bikes.
I'll take you
I
around
meet
the
all
curve.
kinds of people from all different walks of life.
You know, a bunch of us are not creating the bike culture. We're going off of what they kind of have started.
It was that there weren't relationships across those boundaries.
Reading is poor and it's filled with people who are low income.
Even just language barriers that we were facing. We don't have any staff that was bilingual.
A lot of the people that we do engage, like for the group rides, it's a very diverse group, and we were very encouraged to see that, like from the start.
We had a lot of city officials come over when we first opened up, and they were like, they loved it. They thought it was the best idea. But yeah, they are totally for it, especially the mayor. The mayor was really fond of it. And his bike's coming here, this weekend to get fixed. So he's getting into
I
it.
think civic engagement is starting to change since we've made it a serious commitment to investing in bike culture here.
I don't know why things just seem to like stop, and now they're all of a sudden coming back with a push.
You know, and now that the city's coming around and starting to make changes to make it more friendly for the bike riders, it's becoming a lot better, you know.
We had the resources to start with an employee bike share program for the city of Reading and deploy them around city facilities and make them available for city workers.
Do you call it?
Yes, I do, because we took their parking permits away. Just this past week, we put in our first public bike repair stand right outside of City Hall. The next step is starting to look at, actual street level infrastructure.
I grew up here my whole life, and you always had to weave in and out of the cars, or I've been hit by a car 3 times.
Beeping at you, got people beeping at you, yelling at you, get out of the road. And
Riding around the city is a risk. It's a physical risk. As much as I love to do it, and I encourage other people to do it, we don't have a safe bike infrastructure here.
Bike-friendly lanes, you have none of that right now, More of the fix your bike stations like we put at City Hall. A lot more of them around the city.
And kind of learning as we go, just like what's our relationship to bikes? How does it impact like our relationship to each other, even about these different communities?
Through bikes, you make friendship and you get unity, you know what I mean? And this to me, out of everything, besides the exercise, was the friendship I've met with different people.
I think there's something to that concern that bike infrastructure is a gentrification tool to gentrify areas, and we're trying to turn that on its head here. You need to reimagine what a post-industrial city of our size looks like, and that's where the people have to be the center of it. Reading's got good bones.
It's got all the pieces necessary to kind of build a new economy community that's not based on a very superficial facade that a lot of other communities seem to be putting into place.
It's young and it's Latino and it's full of possibility.